Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, didn't I pick the wrong week to go away on holiday? Because the shite has hit the fan. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing, obviously, Scobie's book and what I think in regards to that. So if you want to join me in this video, then sit back, relax, grab your drink of choice, whatever that may be, and drop it in the comments what you are drinking today while you watch this video. Or you might want to, as we are coming into the festive season, you might want to add a little something to that drink of choice, or because, as the flag says behind me, yep, you got it, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink and let's dive right in. Firstly, I want to say I had an amazing holiday, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. Yeah, for those of you who who want me just to get straight to the point, wow, Scobie's book. We all knew, I think, let's be honest, we all knew this was going to be controversial. I think there's not a person that hasn't followed the fact that Omid suddenly appeared on the scene around the time that Meghan Markle appeared on the scene, and he has been an advocate for the Sucketses. Can I say that? Sucketses? I'm not saying the other one because I just refuse. Sucketses. So yes, he has been an advocate for the Duck and Duchess of Suckett. Suckets. Calling himself a royal reporter when we know he really isn't. And watching some of the interviews that he's done, straight away I can tell by his body language that he's uncomfortable, which, given the fact that he's been in this circuit for a while, it's a bit like Harry, when you've done enough interviews, usually the reason, especially if there's times when you're comfortable, if you're always uncomfortable, then generally speaking, I would say it's probably because you are uncomfortable speaking in an interview setting, speaking in public. But when you have this is why you find a baseline with body language, because when you have situations where they look incredibly comfortable, which we've seen Harry do, which we've seen Scobie do, Scooby-Doo, no, because that just goes against Scooby-Doo. I just can't. When he looks uncomfortable, that tells you that it's the line of questioning or maybe the subject matter that is creating him to feel uncomfortable, which is unusual given the fact that he allegedly wrote this book himself with no help from anybody apart from the little sources that he had. So I find it quite funny when you're watching him doing these interviews and he looks genuinely uncomfortable with the line of questioning, especially around this situation that's happening now, in the fact that he did not or does not understand how the Dutch, is it in the Netherlands, copy of Endgame had names of 2 royals in it. I wonder how. I just don't understand how that happened. How do you go from giving a transcript, asking them to obviously, do that in their language, but suddenly 2 names appear randomly? But let's be honest, it's on the bit that is the subject matter. It's not like the 2 names appear just randomly when he's talking about something that makes no sense whatsoever. It just so happened that those 2 names appeared when they were talking about the conversation that happened in regards to Archie's skin colour. How convenient. Even though Scobie has no idea how that got there. I never mentioned any names. I don't understand how that got there. Please, do me a favour. Stop treating us like how you possibly treat yourself and maybe some of the cult squad around you is that you're stupid, that we're stupid. There is no way that was an accident. What I believe happened, and I believe that Meghan has been talking to him. Now, whether or not it's been recently, whether or not it's been something's happened and they've distanced themselves, say, for example, because they realise that Scobie is a leech, even though they're leeches. But I would imagine he's probably got recorded conversations that between Harry and him, and or Meghan and him, emails back and forth, letters, because we all know how much Meghan loves to write her letters. And the fact that he says that these are sources that were close to Harry and Meghan. Well, we all know how litigious Harry and Meghan are. So why would these friends risk speaking to Omid about their private life, knowing the fact that they could possibly get sued, or Omid could get sued? But of course, he'll back that up because he'll be like, well, I got this information from your friends. But interestingly, the Suckettses are quiet and nothing. Now, for some people, that means that they do not stand by what Omid is saying, but also that it could be that they actually realise that the backlash that's come from this, and they have leaked information, they need to keep quiet, because if they don't, then Omid could double down and say, well, hang on a minute, you gave me this and I've got the proof. Which is what I think is probably the thing. I don't believe for 1 second that this was an accidental leak. I think it was a bit like when Harry didn't understand or know how his book got was it excerpts of his book got released in Spain. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, okay, Harry. Yeah, because we don't see the fact that this is a publicity ploy and you did that on purpose to leak info around the time, so it could start the cogs whirring and people like, oh my god, I need to buy his book. It's so juicy and exciting. And the same with Omid. He's done exactly the same type of thing, which, okay, you can say that a lot of publishers do that, fair enough. However, when you've got a book that's full of lies, full of attacking a family again, it becomes a bit boring and a bit predictable. And this is what I believe Omid has done. When Harry and Meghan first spoke about this on Oprah, and I'm going to make this very clear, because what I find is that when reporters are talking about it, nobody's talking about the fact that they got the timeline wrong. When Meghan first sat down with Oprah, she said it was a conversation and concerns when she was pregnant with Archie about what his skin colour might be. Because Oprah did the famous, what? What? No. Did somebody say that? Oh my God. Then when Harry sat down, he went completely into this denial of, yeah, not going to talk about it, not really going to mention it. But I will say that it happened when we very first got together. So before Meghan was even pregnant, a conversation happened in regards to what the skin of the child was going to look like, which is a normal conversation. What I think happened there is that it was a conversation involving Harry. I actually probably believe that Harry was the royal that was probably instigating this conversation. So the fact that they were having, and I think Lady C mentioned that it was Princess Anne that might have mentioned it, that spoke about it. But anyway, I think this was a conversation that was had within family. I think Harry laughed and thought it was funny. Probably relayed this to Meghan at a later date, maybe even when she was pretend pregnant with Archie, and she just went, oh, that's racist. I'm going to use that. Because the timeline it's wrong. And if your timeline is wrong, then that brings into question the whole thing. You can't say this is credible when the timeline was wrong. She said it happened when she was pregnant. He said it happened when they first got together. I'm probably more likely to believe Harry's version. There was a conversation probably about, oh my God, if you and Meghan, if you had a child, I wonder what your child would look like. I wonder, it's an innocent conversation that Meghan, I believe, has taken and twisted. which is why Harry doubled down when Oprah questioned him about it and was like, I'm never going to talk about that. I'm never going to mention who that is, because I think he was included in that. He was part of that. And let's be honest, the only racist we've seen so far evidence of is Harry. So it's very possible that even Harry joked. I think he said he joked about the fact that the child might have ginger hair. What is that against all gingers now? No, it's ridiculous. And bearing in mind that the Archie that we are being shown is whiter than Casper, and the fact that Meghan is biracial, so instinctively they make it seem that this is about race when her father is white. So what if they'd said, oh, I wonder if his skin is going to be as white as snow? Would that be racist against her father? No, of course not. It's a conversation which people have, and many people have come out and said this is a normal conversation. You're blowing this out of proportion. But again, like I say, I reiterate, the timeline doesn't add up. And then we have the fact that then they come out and they said, oh, it wasn't to do with the Queen and Prince Philip. It was somebody else. But then when Harry come out with his spare, he literally sat there in an interview and said, we never said that the royal family were racist. I live within that family, and I would definitely say they're not racist. Meghan never said that, although she did, because people have gone back and gone, yeah, you did say that, even though she was trying to be a bit coy and clever, where she's like, well, if that's your assumption, Oprah, then I guess, maybe that's right. So she did say it, but then Harry comes out and says, no, nobody said it. We're going to gaslight you all and make you believe that we didn't actually say that the royal family was racist. This is probably around the time when Harry was wanting an apology for nothing that they've ever done, and probably wanting to come back to the royal family. So it's like, you know what, I'm just going to say, no, it never happened. And you're all going to believe me. No, never happened. Doesn't matter that we've got it on recording. Doesn't matter that anyone can access it. No, never happened. Don't care what you're looking at or what you're reading. It didn't happen. Then fast forward to now, and Omid Scobie has been instrumental in feeding this. Every now and again, I've seen people send me tweets where he's dropped that tweet in every now and again, where he's kind of like, oh yeah, don't forget that there's a racist within the royal family. Must not forget that. In all honesty, I don't think this is Harry. I think this is Meghan behind the scenes, frustrated that everything that they've tried to do to attack the royal family, especially Catherine, has fallen on deaf ears. There's been a bit of a hoo-ha when it first comes out, and then within literally the next day, the day after, it's yesterday's news. So every now and again, they've got to retweet something. And Omid Scobie is her access. Archewell is almost like their Instagram. They use that as their social media. And Omid is almost like he is their mouthpiece. So when they say, we're not going to attack the royal family anymore, we are just going to put ourselves behind this drama. Yeah, the drama you created, let's just be clear. So now you don't want any part of it now, then, well, let's just not talk about it anymore. That's like having a conversation with somebody and you want to talk about your point of view and the other person goes, you know what, actually, I've said my bit, don't need to talk about it anymore, let's shut this down. And you're sitting there kind of going, hello, hang on, I have got a say here, I need to say something. Or it's also the equivalent of going up against, having a go at somebody who cannot fight back. Somebody who is very perhaps even vulnerable, or they're not somebody that likes confrontation, and so you feel it's okay to bully publicly, putting things out on Facebook even, or Instagram, or your TikTok, attacking the person knowing that they can't or won't fight back. These are two examples of what Harry and Meghan and Omid Scobie are doing. They know that the palace is, never explain, never complain, and so they are using that to do what they're doing. And so Omid is Meghan's mouthpiece. And remember when I said also that Omid dated her bestie, Marcus Anderson. So those three are in the thick of it together. So I think that she's angry and frustrated that when they spoke about the racism, that it didn't gain the traction. She is even probably angry at Harry because Harry come out and said, no, we never said that. And she's probably there going, well, I did say that. and this is our big thing, and you've just basically gone and said, no, it's not true. The royal family are not racist. So Omid Scobie is there stirring the pot, but again, it's not going anywhere. People are kind of like, oh yeah, Omid Scobie, oh yeah, racism, okay, blah blah blah. You know, it's not gaining the traction that Meghan wanted it to. So she's there concocting this with Omid and basically kind of going, what can we do? I know you could write another book because funding freebies wasn't enough. Attacking the family again, putting our point of view across again. But obviously, you know, you can't tell anyone that it's us. But I do, like I say, I do believe this is more Meghan. He's probably got information from Harry back then, but I would imagine possibly that Harry is, because like I've said, I don't believe they're together. Don't believe they're together. So I think that Meghan is doing a lot of this on her own now. Probably got Marcus Anderson there as well. So she's feeding him this information. So he's not got friends close to, because I don't believe they've even got any friends anymore. So I think this is all her. And she's put this out in the sense of, you know, let's do this again. Let's attack the family again. There's stuff that has been said about Catherine. I'm not even going to mention it because I think it's not even worth airtime, because he's a vile cretin as far as I'm concerned, and I think that the way he's gone after the royal family is, in a way, it's just made him look ridiculous, and it has. This book has not gone the way he might get money from this because people have bought the book, but it's not done him any favors, and it's not done Harry and Meghan any favors, and that could be why they're keeping quiet, because firstly they realize that he probably has got stuff on them, and so he was going to come out and be like, well, you know, because why haven't Harry and Meghan come out and said, you know what, this is disgusting, this is outrageous, and actually we're going to be suing Omid Scobie for some of the things that he said, because we know how litigious they are. I think their silence is two things. One, they're scared. They're scared that if they do say something, that he's going to go, I've got receipts. But secondly, because they probably didn't realise, again, because they failed to read the room of, again, the backlash that this is going to cause. And I think Omid is, again, a narcissist, very similar to Meghan. So this is my first advert, guys, so please be kind. I have been thinking about getting a VPN for quite some time, mainly due to the online security issue that I worry about. I've done a lot of research. I contacted a company called Atlas VPN, had a great conversation with somebody called Camille, who put a lot of my concerns to rest. They gave me a great deal that I could then give to you guys, because as you know, if I find something, I like to share it with you. So for 3 years at this set price of $1.83, which works out to be £1.44 a month. But if you click on my link, which you will get 3 months extra free. So you will get 3 years, 3 months at $1.83, £1.44 a month. And I've done a lot of research, and that is one of the cheapest out there that I can find, that we're willing to bring it here for you guys to get that discount. I know many of you, for the fact that if you are on a streaming service, if there is something that I want to watch and I can't get it because I'm in the UK, I can change my country of origin, say United States or wherever, and I can watch something from there just using this VPN. The other benefits are you can also do the same thing when it comes to booking holidays, flights, hotels, etc. It changes everything to save you so much more money. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I certainly didn't. It protects everything that you search for online. You are protected from your Google searches. You no longer get the malware spam. And I don't know about you, but if you've got family, that is something that's incredibly important. Obviously, I have an Arthur, and maybe he's searching things when I go to bed, maybe watching things, I don't know, and maybe this will help him. This is something that I think will be very beneficial to all of you if it's something that you have ever thought about doing, and I would suggest doing it, especially in this day and age. One of the other things is that it also protects all of your devices in your household. So this will be for your children, for yourself, your husband, your wife. You will protected by all of them. And again, I think this is such a great deal, whereas a lot of others, they might just limit you. This company doesn't. So don't forget, if you click on my link, it's $1.83 a month, £1.44 a month, and you get 3 months extra free. Don't miss out on this great deal. And I will see you in the next advert. See you soon. Bye. I don't know about you, but when you look at Omid Scobie and Meghan Markle, they're actually now starting to kind of morph into each other. I don't know whether Omid is actually wanting to look like Meghan. I don't know. It's very strange, but he just seems to be morphing into her. I mean, I personally speaking, I think this is a very insecure little man. I feel Meghan is as well. Narcissists are insecure, which is why they behave the way they do. And I absolutely believe that Omid Scobie is also another one. And so what I'm thinking here is that, again, this racism didn't gain traction. And so he's released this book. And I think behind the scenes, Meghan is itching to release a name of the person. And what you've got to remember with narcissists is no matter what you do, unless you are on their side and you do exactly what they say, you are an enemy to them. If you've affected a narcissist in some way, if you don't matter to them, it doesn't matter. But if you have gone against them, whether it be you've said no, you've rebuffed them, you're not interested in them, you've not done what they've wanted you to do, you've decided not to be friends with them, you don't want to be their partner anymore, whatever it is, if you have made a decision that directly affects a narcissist, because they have to be the ones that cut the cord, not you, them. So if you cut the cord, you will basically be on their hit list. And so for me, this is what I think the royal family are to Meghan. They are on her hit list. Along with certain people in Hollywood, anyone that goes against her, they are on her hit list. Now, they're too cowardly to do things themselves. So they get other people, which is why we call them flying monkeys. They get other people to do things for them. So Omid Scobie is kind of like her chief flying monkey, if you like. And so he is doing everything for her. So this release of the name, and someone has said that that it's Charles, and I believe because now it's 2. So we've gone from it's 1 to none to now it's 2. So not only could you not get your timeline wrong, right? Sorry, get your timeline right. You can't work out who it was. Now, bearing in mind that Meghan wasn't privy to this conversation, Harry was. So how does Omid Scobie know who it was? So that's got to have come from Harry and Meghan, Harry or Meghan. In all honesty, I don't believe it's Harry. And I think Meghan is just plucking names out. It's people that she's angry at. So she'll be angry at King Charles because he's the one in her eyes that's making decisions that directly affect them. And part of that would be cutting them off financially, not allowing them to come to certain events, basically saying no to her. So if she's angry at him. Now, it's interesting that she's not going after William, and I believe that's because she likes William. This is what I believe. I think she has a crush on him. I think she likes him. And so I think that she's, in her eyes, not going after him, even though going after his wife is probably far worse in William's eyes, because he absolutely adores Catherine. So, but in Meghan's distorted brain of a narcissist, she won't be good because she also knows that he's going to be a king one day. So in her mind, she's like, well, if I don't directly attack him, but she also leaves that to Harry. Harry directly attacks William because but Harry's anger is different, I believe, to the way Meghan behaves. Like, people have said to me, do you think Harry has narcissistic personality disorder? I don't. But I do think he has narcissistic qualities, which is different. But I also think he has histrionic, which they kind of marry together, which means that he does have narcissistic tendencies, but there is elements of him that does have, in the right environment, he can be quite passionate, quite kind. And I do think there is elements of that with Harry. I don't think he's all bad. I think he's entitled and a spoilt brat, even at the age he is. But I think that there are genuine aspects of him that are there. So I think, like I've said before, he has arrested development. And so I think that that's why he does you see him, he's more happy when he's acting up, like I say, acting the goofball around children, etc. It's almost like that's his, you know, mentality, you know, the emotional maturity. With his anger with William is probably now a lot to do with that Harry probably always thought that William would be there. Even no matter what has happened, William has protected him for such a long time. William is always the one that's kind of stepped in. I'm not saying that William's been perfect. I'm sure he hasn't. And I'm sure Harry's had to take the flak for a lot of things that William's done, being his future king. But I do believe that his anger is now because William has basically said, we're done. And this is hurting Harry. I think that he probably never thought that him and William would be done. A lot of brothers can be like this. You know, we fight, we fall out, you know, we make up. But I think that Harry's taken it too far, especially given the fact that he's with Meghan. And William has said, no, enough. And William is there behind the scenes, probably enforcing a lot of what has happened with his dad, because he knows his dad's probably a bit softer. I don't think Charles is as soft as what people think he is. I think he just probably loves and misses his son, and he's probably very hurt. There's no probably about it. He would be very hurt by what Harry's done, and probably doesn't understand. You know, he's a different generation. So it's interesting that so I think Harry's attack on William is more personal to him, and it's coming from a place of hurt. Even though Harry is the one that's caused this, in his mind, it's like he probably never believed that William would turn his back on him. So, and a lot of the time when you have that emotional, that skewed emotional development, if you look at the way some children behave, they misbehave to get attention. And I think Harry, in a weird way, is doing the same thing. Meghan is different. Meghan's malicious. She is hell-bent on revenge. And so when the racism didn't pan out and it didn't go anywhere, and in fact a lot of things were debunked, she would have been furious, because that would have been her ticket. That's her ticket to everyone feeling sorry for her and lifting her up in the world, and it's not happened. And so, but her anger and revenge against Catherine is because Catherine is everything that she wants to be, and she isn't and cannot be, because it's just not in her to be. Because Catherine's beauty isn't just about looks, isn't just about the way she holds herself in her gracefulness. It's her heart, it's her passion, it's her kindness, it's everything. She is, to me, the total package. And when you have a heart that's so kind, it's like you have this aura about you. You walk in a room and you light up the room. Catherine does that. Meghan doesn't. There's a darkness about Meghan. And I think that she is angry that not only is Catherine just getting better and better and better, where she isn't, everyone loves her. The only people that don't are anti-royalists, or people the odd few that side with Harry and Meghan. And she hates that. So she's going to do whatever it takes to bring her down. And this is why I have said, and I bang on about it, that if those children were real, she would be using Lily to outshine Charlotte. Because Charlotte, in Meghan's eyes, is an extension of Catherine, which is why she hates her. Which is an odd thing to say for an adult to hate a child, but there we go, but narcissists do. So Lily would be reeled out every time there was something to do with Charlotte. We would see her with Lily. And people have said, but surely that means it takes attention away from her. When they're young, no, because the attention is still on her, because it's like, oh my God, Meghan, your daughter's so amazing. You're such a great mum. You know, so she's still getting that attention. The difference being is when the child breaks away, when they start to have autonomy, when they start to develop their own sense of self, and they want to do other things, the control starts to distance, and that's when the problems start to happen. All the time you're compliant, because a lot of the time children are compliant. All the time you're doing exactly what the narcissist mother wants, they're happy. You know, as long as you are doing exactly what they want from you. As soon as you start to say no, or you want to do something different, or you're not doing what they want you to do, that is when the problems start. And it goes one way or the other. The child either grows up being a narcissist like their mother, or they all tend to go the opposite way and very damaged by them. And so this is what she would be doing. She would be reeling Charlotte out. You know, if they went out as a family, out they would be as a family. And we would get the full photo spread. We would get everything, but we don't. We don't. They are not hiding these children because they're waiting for the perfect opportunity, or there's something wrong. I believe, as I've said, Archie is in the UK with his real mother, and Lily isn't there with them at all. They have no daughter. I think there was going to be, but it went wrong. And now there isn't a daughter. And she can't say anything because she's gone through the whole fake pregnancy thing. And people have said, yes, but she put weight on. Again, I remind you that she was an actress, whether she's a good one or not a good one in your eyes. She's an actress. She's been in the industry for a long time because of her dad. She would know what to take. There are supplements you can take. You can create, you can take hormones which create weight gain. You can eat things that create weight gain very quickly. Actors and actresses have been doing it for years to do fake pregnancy roles, to gain weight, lose weight very quickly. You know, you look at Bridget Jones. It's there. She would have learned from the first one to then redo the second one. And at the end of the day, I'm not here to say to you, this is definitely the truth. You can believe what you want to believe. I have no qualm about that. You know, this is just my opinion, and with the knowledge and the things that I believe and know. But you are also free to choose and believe what you want to. And I'm going to get into the diary that has caused a hoo-ha in my last video. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But let me just wrap this up by saying, so I believe that Meghan has orchestrated Omid to put in, so it's kind of almost as if it's plausible deniability. So it was possibly in the transcript, the original version, and he's added that either, I don't know how it got there, or I asked them to remove that, but they didn't. So I don't believe that any of that happened. I think that he sent them a copy with the names in them. They put it out. What he didn't think was going to happen was the fact that they are now pulling it from the shelves and the backlash that has come from that. And I think he has to be very careful because he has now fundamentally named two people as racist. And I believe that he's named, and correct me if I'm wrong, but just from what I'm seeing, because it's slightly conflicting, but people have said that it's King Charles and Princess Catherine that have been the two people. Well, isn't it funny that King Charles is the one that's been saying no and cutting them off, and people have said that they still think that they are in the fold? I don't, because this behaviour, the way they're behaving, this is not the behaviour, even with a narcissist, of they're getting everything they want. This is the behaviour of you've literally slammed the doors in our face and I am fuming. And Catherine, she's had a vendetta against Catherine from day dot. So she wants Catherine to be taken down, and this is her way of doing it, but she's used Omid to do it, and Omid's now going, well, I don't know how that got there. Yeah, you do know how that got there, because it was there in one of your original transcripts, whatever it was, you wrote a copy that had those names in it. Because if this was an accident, then how is it that those two names are in the exact paragraph that it talks about? Why is it not about when we're talking about apple bobbing or something like that? You know, and then two names randomly appear in the book and people are like, well, why are they there? That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense. So he's done this on purpose. I don't think he realised that actually the Netherlands are now pulling the books as fast as anything, and so that's going to affect his sales. So that didn't go well. But of course, people will scramble to try and buy one. So yes, of course it is a marketing ploy, but I think we have to go deeper than that. This isn't just about a marketing ploy. This is Meghan getting revenge against a woman who she fundamentally hates because she cannot be her. You've only got to go back to the Tig to look at her. Everyone wants to be Princess Catherine, but I want to be She-Ra. Really? Well, the first chance you got, you hopped on that princess train without giving that a second thought. You didn't go, no, being in the royal family is not for me. I want to be She-Ra. You wanted to be. You want to be idolised like Diana. She wants to be idolised like Diana. and she wants to be Princess Catherine. Loved as well, like Princess Catherine. She hates the fact that not only is she now Princess of Wales, but she is now becoming loved like Diana. She is all of the good bits, all of the good bits. And, you know, and this will frustrate and infuriate her. Now, what the palace are going to do with this, I don't know. People have, there's been mixed opinions on this. People have said that they should speak out, they should say something. I don't necessarily feel that they should. I don't feel that they need to, but I do think that something does need to be done. And I know that people have said about the titles, it is not a quick fix. It is not a simple case of, you know, King Charles goes, right, that's it, titles are gone. It has to go through the Parliament. I believe it is at its second reading. It takes time. Unfortunately, frustratingly so, it takes a long time for this to happen. Then I believe once it's gone through, and I think if it passes, then it goes to, I believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, it then gets I think to King Charles, and he okays it. Now, I don't, at this point, I think he's probably going to okay it. I can't see how he can keep these titles with all of this going on. They have attacked him, they have attacked, and he is very close to Catherine. He loves his daughter-in-law, you can see that, and so this is going to hurt him immensely. And it's just going to infuriate everybody. But I do feel that this is interesting, that the title of this book is Endgame. I think this is end of Omid Scobie. I really do. I think people, he might be having his 5 minutes now where he's doing the talk shows, but he's done as far as many people are going to take him seriously. I would not be surprised that when the sort of dust has settled a little bit, that he's going to get fired. I do wonder if he's going to get fired from some of the jobs that he's in, because he will have caused a huge, huge problem now. And the royal family, whether people want to believe it or not, have power. People don't want to go against them. You know, and Omid now has, and people are not stupid. People know that this is the voice of Meghan, even though he's come out. And if it wasn't true, why would you feel the need to come out and defend? You know, you would just say nothing, but he hasn't. He's come out and he's been like, this is absolutely nothing to do with Meghan and Harry. I don't really speak to them. We're not friends. Why would you feel the need to do it? One doth protest too much, methinks. So I think that you're lying, and you absolutely have had conversations with probably more Meghan than Harry, but you probably have got some stored away where Harry's probably spoken to you. When you have 3 people that lie, that cannot get their story straight, their timeline right, can't even remember whether it's 1, 2, none, and the fact that you've got the author who lied about his age, has lied about various things in the book, because Piers Morgan and other people have come out and said, well, you're saying things about me and absolutely none of that's true. So when you start debunking a lot of the things that he's talking about, it kind of then just, you think, well, you know what, this is going to be like tomorrow's new, you know, toilet paper. You know, yes, it's causing a big furore, and I do think it's sad that again, and I think that's the wonderful thing in a way, is that this is creating more sympathy for the royal family, because people are like, come on, give these guys a break. You know, this is the same thing again and again and again and again. You know, we get it. You were upset. You've had your poor little snowflake feelings hurt. Build a bridge, get over it. You know, at the end of the day, you're either going to address this and heal from it, but then these 3 are just like, no, let's regurgitate this every year. Let's do something, because it's not gaining the traction that it needs to. And I think that's what it was. I think this was Meghan. I think this was a ploy. I think he purposely planted those names. I think he purposely sent it over there, because I think the law is different over there, I believe. There'll be a reason why he felt it was okay to do it there. But I don't believe this was an accident in any shape or form. And I think anyone that uses their brain doesn't believe this was an accident. And I think this could get him into some trouble. I have a feeling that Omid Scobie is going to come out far worse than this. Harry and Meghan are coming out far worse, because people are believing that they were behind this. And they were. There's no way that, you know, the things that he's made up, fair enough, but if there's anything to do with like personal letters between Meghan and King Charles, who was Prince Charles at the time, how does he know that? That hasn't come from any so-called friend. And if it has, Marcus Anderson, then that again, it's the same thing. That's been okayed by Meghan and Harry. So why haven't they come out and said, you know, we're going to be taking legal action against Omid Scobie for some of the things that he's referred to in our book? They're a litigious pair. Their silence, I feel, is not because they are disgusted with what he said. I think they're probably pooping their pants at the moment in the fact that they did not realise the backlash again, which they should after the others. But this is bad. This is bad. Just a little thing about, so obviously the last video I did was about Meghan Markle's diary, and there's been huge mixed opinions on this. People have said that they think that it's a spoof. People have said that they don't think it's real, but then some people have believed it to be real. So perhaps I should have clarified a bit more. I think sometimes I think I've done it, and then when I get the comments, I'm like, I didn't say that. I should have said that, and I didn't. So this diary, at no point, and I will put a screenshot of it here, the main bit, it doesn't say this is a spoof. It doesn't say this is made up. Now, again, knowing how litigious Harry and Meghan are, especially with the Daily Mail, and this is an online magazine for women. So it's real. It's not some hokey hinky back street kind of, you know, pay online thing that nobody ever knows about. This is a big deal. This is Daily Mail online female paper magazine, whatever you want to call it. So the fact that they've put this up, and this is 2017, before we knew anything about what Meghan was really like. So, you know, this is like, you know, months after her coming out as dating Prince Harry. So it's all in the throes of, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. She's so lovely and so wonderful. And then it went, now, do I think, so firstly, they've never been sued. So if this was written, say, by a reporter who was just playing around, they've never been sued. And the reason why I say that is because at one point when she talks this, whoever the reporter is that did this, whoever wrote this, talks about her meeting Harry in Toronto, which predates the alleged when they met as a blind date in July. So she was still seeing Corey at the time. She was, and yes, people have corrected me when I said she was dating. She was living with him. I did know that. I just didn't add that in. I don't know why I just didn't. So that looks really bad against her. Now, bearing in mind, they've come out and they said, oh, you know, we met in July, and so no, we had to, you know, it wasn't May. Why haven't they sued to get that corrected? They don't leave anything. They don't leave anything to chance. They've had things erased from the media. And what's interesting is that when I click on the link, it takes me there. When I type in Meghan's diary, nothing. Nothing. So it's been scrubbed from the search engine since this has been put out. So this was sent to me. So firstly, they have not been sued. Secondly, it's been scrubbed from the search engine. If it was a spoof and they weren't that bothered about, why has it been scrubbed from the search engine? Why are they so bothered about that? But also, I don't think this was Meghan sitting there writing a diary. I genuinely don't. If you understand narcissists, everything they do comes with an agenda. So what I do think, and if we look at Meghan Markle in the engagement interview, if we look at how she's behaved around Harry, where she looks up at him all gooey-eyed, or where she giggles like a silly little schoolgirl, she's very immature in the way she comes across. Wild about Harry, you know, the things that, you know, if you look at some of the interviews that she's done when she was, you know, around dating him, some of the things, the way she describes things, it is like how she's written this. Because people have said, no, this is written by a teenager. Yes, she does behave like a teenager because in her mind, narcissists don't know how to behave. They don't know how to act. So they mimic and they mirror. They look at other people and they try and do the same thing. So she's basically thought, how would I act if I'm really in love with Harry, I would act all silly and childish and like, you know, oh, I'm a love-struck teenager. And that's how this diary reads. I think this was purposefully, again, like what we've just discussed with Omid, and purposely planting things. We know that she purposely wrote this letter knowing to her father, knowing it was going to be released. So she writes things because she knows how it's going to, or she believes how it's going to be perceived publicly. So I think that she wrote this in an attempt to seem as if she's like a lovesick teenager over Harry. Bearing in mind, like I said, this is back in 2017. So I think that this was her. I do think this was her, but I think that she's purposely released little snippets to make it seem like, oh, how cute, she's writing a diary in meeting Harry. Because if it wasn't her, and obviously you've got to remember that this is also, if she's released things, this is also like people have said, oh, she wouldn't write honest in brackets. No, I'm sure the reporter probably added that bit in, because I think that's the sarcasm. Like when she did the Cut magazine, there was some sarcasm by the journalist. Because I think when they're reading things, they know it's not true, but they're going to print it anyway. So I think that the journalist who wrote this did that in brackets because that's been sent in and they've gone, yeah, okay, but we're going to print it anyway because people are going to read it. And that's why in brackets honest was put up there. That wasn't Meghan, that was the journalist that wrote that, as if to say, yeah, we don't believe this is honest, but she's telling us it is, so we're just going to put that in brackets. So I genuinely do think that she's planted that to make it seem as if she is all love struck with Harry. Now, back in 2017, people weren't questioning anything. People weren't questioning the timeline of anything. People didn't know that she was, you know, seeing Corey at the same time. But as time has gone on and things have started to come out and things have started to get leaked, that has not held well, because when you look back at that, it's now coming across quite damning. At the time, if you're reading that, people are like, well, it is a bit silly and childish, but, you know, okay, fair enough. But now, when they've come out and there's been things that have come out about Corey, things that have come out about Trevor, and it's and the fact that, you know, she talks about, you know, going to a wedding in Jamaica, and she brings Trevor into it, and people have said, you know, why would she do that? Because she's not writing this as if it's personal to her. She's writing this like she wrote the letter to her father, because she wants people to see it and see her in a specific way. And that's quite telling. So when you're writing it as in, you know, she's writing it with the view that this is not her, this is how people see her. So that makes sense to me. So the fact, like I said, that they've never been sued, the fact that it's scrubbed from the internet, and the fact that it's actually quite damning to her. So I think in the beginning she has written about meeting Harry in Toronto, but then all of a sudden, as it's progressed, now you can't find it. Now you can't find it. Why? If it's innocent and there's nothing to it, and it's a spoof, not really anything to worry about, why has it not been scrubbed? Why has it been scrubbed? And again, it's okay to not believe it. It's okay. I don't put things up here to brainwash you. I put things up here because this is what I believe. And some share that opinion and some don't. And that is okay. Really, really, I can't stress that enough. It really is okay if you don't believe. The last thing I ever want to do on this channel is upset people. It's not my intention. It never has been. However, I can't please everybody. So I had a lovely time in Glastonbury. I am going to be doing a video and putting that together. As you can see, I've got some glitter in my hair. I always come back with glitter in my hair. But I will give you a proper showing of that when I've actually washed my hair, because I got back yesterday and it's just been crazy busy. So this is the last video of November, and when I do my next video, I will be giving you the details of the Christmas giveaway. So I hope that you enjoy this one, and I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, take care whatever you are doing. And as always, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Mwah. Bye-bye.